Hi, this is part 2 of Quranic reasons as to why Israel belongs to the Jews. Belongs to the Israelites, not the Palestinians, according to the Quran. I'll continue here. The fundamentalist Muslim program to use Islam as an instrument for the political warfare against Jews the fundamentalist Muslim program to use Islam as an instrument for political warfare against Jews finds a major obstacle in the Quran itself. Both the Bible and the Quran state quite clearly that the right of the Israelites to the land of Israel does not depend on conquest and colonization. The right flows from the will of Almighty God Himself. He means Allah, because this guy's a Muslim. The guy who's writing this is a Muslim, so he probably meant God Himself. He meant Allah Himself. Both the Jewish and Islamic scriptures teach that God, He means Allah, through His chosen servant Moses, decided to free the offspring of Jacob from slavery in Egypt, and to constitute them as heirs of the promised land. Whomever claims that Jewish sovereignty over the land of Israel is something new and rooted in human politics denies divine revelation and divine prophecy as explicitly expressed in our holy books, the Bible and the Quran. The Quran relates the words by which Moses ordered the Israelites to conquer the land. Quote, "And remember when Moses said to his people, O my people, call in remembrance the favor of God unto you, whom when He produced prophets among you, made you kings, and gave you what He had not given to any other among the people. O my people, enter the holy land which God has assigned unto you." It's talking about Allah. Which Allah has assigned unto you. "And turn not back ignominiously. Ignominiously, for then will ye be overthrown to your own ruin." That's Quran 5:20-21. Moreover, and those who try to use Islam as a weapon against Israel always conveniently ignore this part. The Quran, it says Holy Quran, explicitly refers to the return of the Jews to the land of Israel before the last judgment, where it says, quote, "And therefore we, Allah, said to the children of Israel, dwell securely in the promised land, and when the last warning will come to pass, we will gather you together in a mingled crowd." That's Quran 17:104. Therefore, from an Islamic point of view, there is no fundamental reason which prohibits Muslims from recognizing Israel as a friendly state. Islam and normalization of relationships between Islamic states and the Jewish state. This is the last part. Quote, "Islam and the normalization of relationships between Islamic states and Jewish state, PLO documents, can in no way be regarded as Islamic. The PLO leaders are a gang of criminals and thieves. The Arabs will be the main victims of any supposed Palestinian state under the leadership. I do not believe that Islam is the factor preventing normalization between the Arabs and the state of Israel. The real problem is that members of the ruling classes in Arab countries believe their authority and power would be threatened by democracy, modernization, and education in the Arab world. They use a distorted interpretation of Islam as a political tool, and unfortunately, the majority of the uneducated Arabs believe their poisonous propaganda. I believe that we must return to the time when Islam was in the vanguard of scientific progress and interfaith dialogue, instead of false leaders such as Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, Arafat, al-Hassani, or Yassin. We Muslims again need true leaders such as Al-Ghazali, Ibn Rushd, and Ibn Khaldun. King Faisal of Iraq said, quote, "The Arabs and particularly the educated ones among them, must look at the Zionist movement with the deepest sympathy. Tragically, true leaders such as Fazl were silenced, and fanatics such as Hajj Amin al-Hassani prevailed. The evil consequences of the victory of fanaticism are clear over all to see. Jews expelled from the Arab countries where they lived in peace, for over 1,000 years. Quote, Palestinians, and quote, refugees, terrorism, etc. To avoid future mistakes, we must learn from our past ones. Unfortunately, there are Arabs who believe that they must fight against Israel until they completely destroy it. Tragedy, which I do not believe the God of Israel will ever permit to happen. Never again. Unfortunately, there are also naive and foolish Israelis who believe incredibly to me that they will achieve peace with their Arab neighbors by giving the murderer Arafat al-Hassani a state, an army, etc. This is insane. You Jews are supposedly famous for your intelligence. How can some of their leaders be so stupid? From the perspective of the natural world, I am not optimistic about the future, what the future holds. However, from the supernatural perspective of faith, we who believe in God, he means Allah because he's a Muslim, must face the future with a positive attitude. We must have faith that we will see the day when real peace and prosperity, which can only be based on the true faith in God and His Word, the Bible and the rabbinic tradition of you, the Bible, the Qur'an, and the authentic Islamic tradition for us. Apparently he doesn't believe like the Muslims that the Bible's corrupted. He believes like the Qur'an that the Bible is before scriptures, and when no one has any ground to stand upon unless they stand upon the before scriptures. Apparently he's one of those Muslims. Apparently he really knows his Qur'an, and that the Qur'an is a confirmation or reminder of that which was before it, which is the Bible. He goes on, we spread throughout the world. Meanwhile, we must work together and prepare for a better future. Muslims must recognize Jewish sovereignty over Jerusalem. From an Islamic point of view, is there any fundamental reason which prohibits Muslims from recognizing Jerusalem both as an Islamic holy place and as the capital of the State of Israel? I realize that the negative answer to the above question is taken for granted by popular opinion. My approach, however, is not based on popular opinion on the current political situation, but on a theological analysis of authentic Islamic sources. And he's using the Qur'an itself. Jerusalem and the Qur'an. The most, I've got to stop and I'll make part 3 because I think I'm running out of time here. Bye.